think we will probably spend on the order of $2 billion this year on training compute. This is basically how humans work. So we're sort of photons in to hand and foot movements out. That's what works best, as opposed to injecting a bunch of heuristics. Very few lines of actual code. It's really quite kind of remarkable. Slow down for another speed bump. And we did not program in, there's no line of code that says slow down for speed bumps. So it is doing this based entirely on video training. Bicyclist, again, there is no line of code that says give clearance to bicyclists. It is just doing what people do. It can read science without ever being taught to read. Once again, there is no line of code that says stop at a stop sign or wait for another car. There's not like wait X number of seconds, nothing like that. Nothing. This is all nets, baby. Nothing but nets. So here we are at a roundabout. So roundabouts are obviously pretty complicated.
It's waited for those two cars.
Yep, it just waited for those two cars to go and then did the turn. We have never programmed in the concept of a roundabout. We just showed a whole bunch of videos of roundabouts. the pure AI version runs faster than the version that is a mixture of normal software and AI.
One of the most important moments, you know what, scratch that. The most important moment in Tesla's history occurred yesterday. Elon Musk demonstrated FSD version 12, complete rewrite, built from the ground up, with no heuristics. This is a watershed moment for the company, especially for Tesla stock investors, and I'd just like to talk about the word regret, something that I think everyone who had capital available in August 2023 will experience in crippling, debilitating amounts in the future, should they have failed to capitalize on the opportunity that was available based on the evidence of what we saw yesterday. I won't say much more than that, but I do want that on the record. Before this mind-blowing demo, Elon Musk jumped on X Spaces and shared some insights. And in this video, I want to do my best, try to help articulate how profound the demo we witnessed truly is. You don't have to agree with my opinion. In fact, you shouldn't. You should form your own opinions by using your own brain and doing your own thinking. But that's the point of this video. I urge everyone watching, please make sure you understand what we have just seen in this FSD V12 demo and its implications if you're a Tesla stock investor or you're somebody who is considering being a Tesla stock investor. The implications for what we've seen include the unlocking of a deca-trillion-dollar opportunity, an upending of multiple industries, and it also, over the long term, puts Tesla on the path of solving AGI. A couple of quick predictions. Number one, I don't think any of the Jim Cramers of YouTube will understand what they've just witnessed. Number two, I don't think any of the geniuses on Wall Street will understand what they've witnessed. Of course, the litmus test is as follows. If on Monday, you know what? I'll be generous. I'll give them until Tuesday. You know what? Even Wednesday. How about Wednesday? If by Wednesday, analysts who are explicitly covering Tesla have not published a new research note on Elon Musk's FSD demo and the profound implications, they're not competent and they're not fit for duty. What's new? For real though, this is going to be a litmus test. What we've seen in this demo, what we'll see in today's video, has profound implications. Seismic. I mean, seriously, this is the watershed moment of watershed moments. If the folks on Wall Street fail to recognize this opportunity and its profound implications, which is my prediction, they really should consider another career. And my final prediction, I don't think we're going to see a meaningful movement on Tesla stock in the first half of next week, which might suggest that on average, investors, participants in the stock market, who have their eye on Tesla stock, maybe considering buying Tesla stock or buying more Tesla or maybe even selling. Based on the net buying and selling activity on Tesla, if there's not much movement, I think it's reasonable to suggest that most investors also have failed to recognize what they just saw. Please don't let this be you. Also, please don't miss out on early access to my daily YouTube uploads by subscribing over on X. And if you want to get real mad, check out the latest Patreon exclusive video I've posted in which I expose the Biden administration who've currently weaponized the Department of Justice in an attempt to damage the reputation of Elon Musk. I wish I was making this shit up. Absolutely brazen corruption. Check the link in the pinned comment to join Patreon. Fair warning though, you will get mad. First, a few highlights from Elon Musk's X Live Spaces appearance just before doing the FSD V12 video demo. And just to be clear, the audio you're hearing is not from the live video demo, which will be playing on screen. Better than looking at a blank screen though, right?
Could you give us any more commentary, like architecturally? I saw the CVPR conference and stuff, but
why go end to end? What's the advantage of, moving control and everything over to neural nets?
Well, I mean, this is basically how humans work. So we're sort of photons in to motor movements out, to hand and foot movements out. That's kind of what works best, as opposed to injecting a bunch of heuristics.
So the key point here, this rewrite of FSD, when Elon describes a lack of heuristics, what he's talking about is no rules have been programmed in. In other words, this real-world intelligence, Tesla's real-world AI, is now learning just like a human. Human beings aren't born with a bunch of rules in their head. If you're driving a vehicle, here's what a lane line is. Here's what a median strip is. Here's how traffic lights work. Here's what a roundabout is. Here's what you do when you see a pedestrian. Here's what you do when you see a car pulling over and passengers getting out. That stuff isn't pre-programmed into a human brain. Yet we learn how to drive. How? Well, by doing. This is the exact same way that Tesla's FSD is now learning and gaining these capabilities. When Elon says there's no heuristics, he's saying there's no pre-programmed rules. The only difference here, at this point in time, the neural nets need brute force with a huge amount of training data before they can get to human level capabilities. The good news is, once as capable as a human, Tesla's software can continue to improve over time. The limiting factor here is training data in and compute to actually do the training. As we watch this video, there's a few really important things to understand. There are no other companies who have A, the data, the most important thing, and B, a generalized solution that isn't being pre-programmed and taught a bunch of tricks, doesn't have any guardrails. It's not being taught, this is this is that, this is what you do in this situation. It's learning on its own. This is intelligence in the real world. And remember, when you see companies like Cruise and Waymo, they are the very definition of brittle, pre-programmed, and need to be told everything. In fact, so brittle, so dumb are their attempts at autonomy. They need to A, be geofenced, and B, everything needs to be pre-mapped in high definition, and they need to use LiDAR to bounce signals off objects to make sure that everything is exactly where it was when it was pre-mapped. Everything is programmed in, as opposed to nothing with Tesla's solution. The long story short, Tesla has a generalized solution, and they've now blown open the bottlenecks. They're no longer needing to pre-program in anything. Now, this was obviously the end destination over a long enough frame of time. This is, after all, how humans learn. But the fact that we're now at that point where Tesla has software that's operating on roads in this demo that's as capable as the existing FSD, which had all the heuristics in there. A complete rewrite that's been trained just on video data. This is stunning. And of course, odds are Wall Street won't get it. Most folks on YouTube won't get it. Most investors won't get it. And they will all eventually come to regret this, in my opinion. And just remember, this is the foundational building block for artificial general intelligence. Back to Elon.
Now, I should say that, this does take a lot of training compute. I think we will probably spend on the order of $2 billion this year on training compute. And a bunch of that is acquiring hardware, so that'll last for some number of years. So it's, but we'll probably spend a similar amount next year, if actually more next year probably. So this is, it's not like, walk in the park here. It's a lot of data and a lot of training.
When Elon says it's a lot of data, he means a lot, as in a fuck ton of data. Now, this is really, really, really critically important to understand. No one else has even close to the amount of data Tesla has to train software to do anything capable of what Tesla's software is doing. The question you must ask is, well, if that's true, Stephen, it is, how could another company acquire a comparable amount of data to begin training their software on to eventually reach Tesla's software capabilities? The answer to that question is, well, Tesla has a head start of give or take 4 million vehicles covered in sensors already on roads collecting data. So any company who would like to acquire a comparable amount of data would need to, overnight, instantly have a fleet of 4 million vehicles already operating on roads covered in the same sensors. There's no one close. So then the question is, how long would it take a company to build out a fleet of over 4 million vehicles and get them on roads somehow collecting data? And in that time, how many more vehicles would Tesla put on roads? My best guess, honestly, at that point, Tesla's going to probably put another 20 plus million vehicles on roads. Do the math. Their production's growing. So the real question is not how long would it take a company to get 4 million vehicles on roads covered in sensors, but how long would it take a company to get 25 million vehicles on roads covered in sensors? You see, this is the whole cat and mouse situation. Tesla scaling production of vehicles covered in sensors and putting them on roads, selling them to customers with industry-leading profit margins faster than any other company on earth. No one is catching up to Tesla. No one is going to get to a point in the future where they have a comparable amount of data as Tesla to train on. It will not happen. This is why when I use the term unassailable lead, I mean it in a literal sense. It is not possible for any company on planet Earth unless they were willing to bankrupt themselves in the process to build out a fleet of vehicles covered in the same sensors necessary to get the same amount of data to start training their software to solve this problem. It's not going to happen. Just imagine you're the CEO of a company. Imagine Jim Farley grabs his gigantic nuts, goes, hey guys, you know what? I've realized we want to catch up to Tesla. We want to solve autonomy. By the way, he'll license it. They'll probably be the first company, but let's not go there. So in order for us to do this, we now need to start putting thousands of dollars of sensors on our vehicles we're selling to customers with no ROI in the next few years on this. In fact, probably no ROI for at least 5 years. Lose thousands of dollars of profit per vehicle sold when we're already seeing catastrophic losses on our vehicles. Our sales are about to collapse. They're going to go from profitable to unprofitable. EV sales, we're still losing tons of money on these. So we're going to lose even more money and probably go bankrupt in the process. But this is the only way we can have a chance of maybe someday slightly catching up to Tesla in terms of having a good solution for autonomy. What do you guys think? Do you approve this idea? He's going to be shit canned instantly. It's not happening. One more time. There is no company on earth today that has any chance of getting a comparable amount of data to train their software. There is no company. This will not happen. This is not hyperbole. Think through all the possible situations. How the fuck do they get the data? They don't. The only reasonable solution would be if a company was willing to pay Tesla insane amounts of money to access Tesla's data to train on. But why would Tesla do that when instead Tesla can just license their software to these companies? Of course, there are many folks who don't understand what's required in terms of training neural nets. They don't understand the amount of data necessary. They just don't get it. And these folks, they'll look at Cruise and Waymo operating some Robotaxis in a few little geofenced regions. They won't understand the technological differences. They won't understand that one solution, completely generalized, no heuristics at all, incredible real-world intelligence. The other solutions are extremely brittle. It's nothing but heuristics. Pre-mapping in HD, geofencing, LiDAR. They just don't get it. And these folks will go, but Tesla's not, what are you talking about, you fucking idiot? Cruise and Waymo already have Robotaxis operating. Obviously, they're ahead of Tesla, you dumb fuck. These people, unfortunately, intelligent as they may be, are a lost cause. I don't know how to get through to them, but I will continue to point out that they're not getting it and why they're not getting it and how they're not getting it, and that's all I can do, right? It is possible for other companies to acquire the amount of compute that Tesla can get their hands on, right? That's reasonable. If companies are willing to invest billions of dollars on compute, they can certainly get the training compute. Although no other companies have built their own in-house chip for training, Dojo, but hey, whatever. In theory, they can spend the money and get the compute. They just will have to spend a lot of money. That's fine. But they cannot get the data. The data is necessary. You need the data and the compute to solve the problem. Both of these are necessary ingredients. The critical ingredient is the data. If you have all the data and not enough compute, eventually you can solve the problem. If you have more than enough compute but not enough data, you ain't solving the problem. Tesla has now shown us, not only do they have the ingredients for the recipe, we already knew this, but now they're showing us the recipe, the end result, this software. There are no more roadblocks between now and superhuman ability with autonomy. Prior to now, we weren't sure. Obviously, it was inevitable at some point they'll solve the problem. They kept discovering a local maximum. This is no longer the case. This is now a flywheel. More data in, more training, more capabilities. One more time. More data, more training, more capabilities, as in better software. This is now officially a done deal. It is just a matter of time.
But it's a very few lines of actual code, so it's really quite kind of remarkable. I mean, we obviously have a proof case in the form of humans that use a biological neural net and eyes to drive, and so cameras and digital neural net is the correct general solution to self-driving. Now, the thing that's kind of a little weird is that it's actually hard for the car to explain what it's doing. But then the same is true when you are, say, driving in a taxi or an Uber or something. You don't actually know what the driver is thinking. You just know what the driver's track record is, 4 or 5 star or whatever, and that they have a lot of experience, and so you kind of trust that experience that they'll drive well. But you actually don't know for sure when you're in a taxi or whatever that they're going to drive well. That's kind of how it will be for FSD 12.
Let me state this differently. What we've seen, this demonstration, the ability to drive, to detect lanes, to avoid pedestrians, to move around cyclists, to go through roundabouts, to navigate traffic lights and so on. This is literally, and I mean this is literally an emergent property. Enough quality data in, without any heuristics, without any hand-holding. This property, this ability emerges. This is stunning. This is where we find ourselves. It's like a little black box. You pour enough data into the black box, shake it up with a little bit of training compute, and out emerges the ability for a vehicle to drive itself. It's a real-world AI. This is what's happening right now. This is an emergent property. Remarkable is an understatement. It's astonishing. Once again, I just want to emphasize, this is the foundational building block for artificial general intelligence. Humans are also black boxes. As Elon points out, we don't really know what's going on. We can't really describe exactly what's happening. Throw a ball to somebody, catch a ball. You can't explain what's going on. There's a bunch of shit happening in the background through experience that you've learned. You can't explain. You don't realize the insane calculations your brain's performing in the background. All you know is you see the ball going there, you start running that way, bam, you grab it. Unless you're extremely uncoordinated, in which case, at least you kind of got close. Try again, buddy.
So like really even like the rendering of what's on the screen is an approximation of what the car is thinking, not exactly what the car is thinking. But it works really well, and it's super smooth. So,
wow.
Yeah.
You know, Elon, everyone's been talking about the GPU shortage. NVIDIA just reported monster earnings, and you've said that FSD is compute constrained.
It is.
What do you mean by that? And what will Dojo do to help that?
Well, we do all of our training, or almost all of our training, I should say, on NVIDIA hardware. We're also bringing up Dojo, and we're doing some amount of training on Dojo, and we'll do an increasing amount of training on Dojo. But we have bought a lot of NVIDIA GPUs, and we intend to continue buying NVIDIA GPUs in addition to Dojo. So, it seems like the world is going to be very compute constrained for a while. I think almost all of the data centers around the world will over time be AI instead of conventional CPUs, or most of the, like if you were to say like what percentage of the energy is being used for neural nets is going to over time I think be probably 80-90%.
Wow.
So I think that's why NVIDIA has such a high market cap, is that people see demand being very substantial for a long time. So there's room for both NVIDIA and Tesla Dojo, because the demand for neural net training and inference will be so high. It is so high.
Dear Tesla investors, if you're not considering the implications of Dojo as a service in the future, you're really missing a trick. For reference, the vast majority of Amazon's valuation today is literally carried by Amazon Web Services, something they initially developed internally to solve their own needs, and then were able to scale, expand, and offer to others. The same shit's going to happen with Tesla Dojo. Tesla themselves have talked about this possibility, Dojo as a service. Tesla's going to build out an absolutely monstrous amount of training compute for their own needs. Guess what? At some point, this will become a third-party training service. This could be a $10 billion revenue stream. Don't sleep on Dojo as a service. But also, don't expect it to happen tomorrow. Tesla's got their own needs to meet first.
Although I do think that we're trending towards, this year there being obviously a severe silicon shortage this year, but then at some point this will become, the choke point will be voltage step-down transformers, because you still have to go from...
It's already happening. People were telling me today, huge wait times on transformers.
Yeah, I mean, the irony is that you need transformers for transformers. So it's like, a GPT is most of the compute is autoregressive transformers. The neural net, like the software version of transformers, and then you need voltage step-down transformers to run the neural net software transformers. So anyway, transformers for transformers. Indeed, there is a shortage of the lead time for voltage step-down transformers is already, I think, on the order of a year and getting longer. And that's not an industry that's used to rapid change. They're used to pretty steady state stuff. And then going beyond that, I think there will be an electricity shortage.
Electricity shortage, huh? Does anyone know any companies that can help alleviate this? It sounds like a big opportunity. After all, big problems are big opportunities. Maybe some companies that have products that generate electricity and, more to the point, store electricity. Anyone know any companies that would do that? I might buy some of their stock.
Just generation capacity, especially if you have if you need the compute to be in one place, which for training you need the compute to be in one place, because the GPUs, which is actually the wrong word, the Google term is actually better, TPU, a tensor processing unit. GPU means graphics processing unit, so we're not doing graphics. In fact,
yeah, absolutely.
The H100 Actually, the H100 technically has a VGA port for boot up, but it has no actual high bandwidth graphics output capability. So it's weird to call something a graphic a GPU that when it actually can't do graphics.
What does it look like to have like 5,000 H100 cards in a data center?
Well, at Tesla, we're bringing up a 10,000 unit H100 cluster right now, actually. And by the way, it's not a trivial thing to bring this up. It's not like, hey, turn on the machines and everything just works. It's we're going 24/7 on this, and with some very competent people, and it's a struggle to get 10,000 H100s to work. Like, very difficult, and to get all the networking to work and the cabling.
Are you using NVIDIA's networking solution there?
For this system, we are using InfiniBand, but
Nice.
but and this is somewhat an esoteric debate of like what's better, like Rocky, which is basically Ethernet, advanced Ethernet, or InfiniBand. I think the general trend for, if you say like much larger scale things, might be more towards sort of Ethernet or very high speed Ethernet, which is ROCE, Rocky, and there's also a shortage of InfiniBand equipment. In fact, that's often more of a shortage than the GPUs.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so for training, you need a dense cluster of computing. There's a massive amount of communication between the GPUs, or really the neural net computers. For inference, you don't have to, inference you can run on like an 8-node stack or something like that, or even less.
So I'd just like to take this moment to remind everybody that Tesla is the car company.
Just like in the car, we're running inference with basically 100 watts, 100 watt, and we're running inference at 8-bit. And
Is that a hardware 4, 100 watts?
hardware 4 is more. So
Are you going to be driving a hardware 3 or hardware 4 car today for the live
this
stream?
is hardware 3.
Oh, okay. Is hardware 4 not supported yet?
Not yet. It will be.
Does the higher resolution pose a challenge with the data set and everything? How do you manage that?
We do have to retrain in order to use the high resolution, because of the fact that as photons into controls out, that photons are different. You're getting a different bit stream with the hardware 4 cameras than with the hardware 3 cameras. Anyway, we're in Palo Alto now, so I could on PageMill could actually turn it on. Although I'd have to. I can't do spaces at the same time.
Yeah, one last question, Elon. In FSD 1147, they had the side blinker camera, and people noticed it started looking better. How did you achieve that? Is it just better post-processing or something like that, or maybe something neural-based?
We can do a lot of post-processing. Yeah. So in fact, yes, we did improve the post-processing.
So the thing with FSC that I noticed, since I've been using it for God knows how long now, that there's two very distinct variables. There's a safety variable, and there's like the comfort confidence variable. And I'm wondering, how much are you seeing with V12? Because we know that the software is super safe. I feel very safe using it, but there's like these little moments where, say, somebody that's new to the software is like, oh, that was kind of inhuman. Oh, that was weird. Is V12 making significant improvements on that side? I would love to hear a little bit there.
Yeah, well, I mean, you'll just be able to see it. Because I'm literally just going to... I guess what I'm going to do is, like, we're in Palo Alto. I'm just going to drop random pins on the map. Just, like, scroll on the map, drop a pin, then drop another pin, then drop another pin. So it's not, it's not like a pre-programmed route. And we'll just see what happens. There's a reason we haven't released this to the public, is because there's still times when it goes wrong. But you'll see that it's extremely smooth. I mean, it's very, very smooth.
Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Elon. Guys,
Thanks, Elon.
All right. So I'll prepare for the live stream.
Somebody say live stream? Don't mind if I do. Just going to share a few key highlights from yesterday's live stream. If you guys want to see the full thing, it's about 45 minutes long. I posted the video yesterday completely uncut. Just want to share a few additional situations and some of Elon's commentary on the capabilities of FSD v12 and what is going on behind the scenes. Once again, please try to understand what you are witnessing, or what you're going to regret 5, 10, 15 years from now.
Entirely AI and cameras. Just like our brain works, which is neural nets and eyes. Yep, I just slow down for a speed bump, which is cool. I just slow down for another speed bump. And we did not program in. There's no line of code that says slow down for speed bumps. So it is doing this based entirely on video training.
Yeah, I went around 5 seconds.
To restate this, the ability of FSD v12, the fact that it knows it should slow down for speed bumps, is an emergent property. It hasn't been pre-programmed in. There is no other company on Earth with sufficient data to train their software for similar properties to emerge. So how does anyone create a generalized solution for autonomy that's equally as capable as Tesla's? They don't. No, really, they don't. One more time. They don't.
Yeah, and we just saw there's a bicyclist. Again, there is no line of code that says give clearance to bicyclists. It is just doing what people do. It can read science without ever being taught to read.
So were you listening? Another emergent property, the ability to read road signs without having been taught how to read road signs. Without having been taught how to read. Do you understand?
Once again, there is no line of code that says stop at a sign or wait for another car.
Who came first or whatever.
Or who came, there's not like wait X number of seconds, nothing like that. Nothing. This is all nets, baby. Nothing but nets.
Yeah.
So here we are at a roundabout. So roundabouts are obviously pretty complicated.
It's needed for those 2 cars.
Yep, it just waited for those 2 cars to go and then did the turn. Again, I'm being somewhat repetitive about this, but we have never programmed in the concept of a roundabout. We just showed a whole bunch of videos of roundabouts. So a lot.
A big fleet helps.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely need a lot of training data, a lot of video training data in order to make this work.
So remember that question I asked earlier about how the actual f*** is anyone else going to get the amount of data Tesla has? And I answered that question by saying they're not. This is actually very important. As Elon points out, the data is a necessary ingredient to solving this problem. No data, no solution. Do you understand?
So you need really billions of dollars of training hardware, and you need to know how to run the neural net training hardware. So it's not like easy, but the mind-blowing thing is that there's no heuristics. There's no like lines of code. Like there's a guy on a scooter. It doesn't know what a scooter is. It doesn't know what paddles are. It's literally just been given a lot of video. So, and it's doing all of this on hardware 3 with about 100 watts of inference compute. So it's not like, obviously, it's not some like massive data center. And if we were offline, there would be no difference. This is locally, all the inference that's happening is local. It does not need an internet connection. And obviously that's necessary because if you lost your cellular internet connection, the car needs to drive safely. But we could be somewhere where there is no internet connection, and it's never seen the roads before. It doesn't matter.
Again, very important point, one I've raised repeatedly in the past. Tesla has developed a generalized solution. In other words, pick it up, drop it anywhere. It doesn't need to have seen the roads before. It'll figure it out. It's got a brain. It's intelligent. The emergent properties of understanding what traffic lights are, how to navigate a roundabout, what to do when you see a pedestrian, and so on. This means Tesla's solution is scalable. As Elon points out, it can encounter roads it's never seen before and figure out what to do, as opposed to a Cruise or a Waymo vehicle, which if you pick up and drop outside its geofenced pre-mapped area, it'll do one of 2 things. Start deleting people, or pull over and cry, say, "Daddy, please come and help me, I'm scared." Which of these solutions is widely scalable? Do you understand?
Not runs at 36 FPS.
Oh yeah, we're running at the full frame rate, so it's taking 8 cameras at 36 frames per second. Yeah. The pure AI version runs faster than the version that is a mixture of normal software and AI. In fact, it would run it faster than 36 frames per second, except the cameras are currently only capable of 36 FPS. Our current, back of the envelope frame number is we think it could probably run at 50 frames a second. But it's just also worth noting, and Cherokee, you may want to actually sort of provide some commentary as well. But we've got test drive, FSD-12 test drivers around the world. So we've got people in, I think, like New Zealand and like Thailand and Norway, Japan,
everywhere. Because you should generalize. The concept of driving is general. You don't need to just do it in the US. You could do it everywhere simultaneously.
Right. Exactly. Just like a human can go travel to a country they've never been to before and rent a car and drive around and be, maybe not quite as good as someone local, but you can still rent a car in a foreign country and drive around. And we just have some students over there that one of them stumbled briefly into the road and the car drove around them. Yeah, so here we are at a roundabout. The car is I've never been to this roundabout before, and the car is not specifically trained on this roundabout.
Yeah, and then once it's out turn, it just proceeds.
Yeah, exactly. So it waited for the correct amount of time, drove smoothly around the roundabout. Again, I will be somewhat repetitive, but there is no line of code that says this is a roundabout. There is nothing that says wait, X number of seconds, which is what we have in the explicit control stack. That's the sort of version 11. There's over 300,000 lines of C++ in the explicit control stack of version 11, and there's basically none of that in version 12.
The best part is no part. The best process is no process. The best line of code is no line of code. And we just heard that Tesla's deleted approximately 300,000 lines of code from FSD in V12.
And then whenever we find that there's something, say if the car doesn't perform perfectly, we give it more examples of what it should do in that situation. It updates the weights, and then it works.
Yeah, and also we have laborers cleaning and making sure that all the data that goes in is the good driving data, not the bad drivers from the world. There are bad drivers.
Yeah, absolutely. It's very important. The quality of the data is very important. So large amounts of mediocre data do not improve driving. We feel good about actually having a very rapid virtuous cycle where when there is an intervention in the fleet, that intervention automatically being uploaded to training, being integrated with training, and then updating really just the weights. So it's not the binary that's changing, it's the weight. Or not the execution binary, it's just really for the weights. But we have not programmed in the concept of traffic lights. So there's not this is a red light, this is a green light, and this is the traffic light position. We have that in the normal stack, but we do not have that in V12. This is just video training. Like I said, nothing but neural nets.
So by now, I'm sure you all get it, right? The ability to understand what to do at traffic lights, to interpret them, to know red means stop, green means go, being in a certain lane, etc., which lights apply to what lane, all an emergent property of Tesla's FSD V12.
And yet it knows which light applies to it, and it stops at a red light, accelerates at a green light. The smoothness of the control the car, just how smoothly the car is behaving is it's hard to convey, I think, on camera, but it's just super smooth.
Yeah,
you have to feel it, really. So now it's making a left turn. So it's gotten itself into the left turn lane. Again, we've never programmed in the notion of a turn lane or anything like that.
Or even a lane.
We doesn't even know what we've never. There's no line that says there's no line of code about traffic lanes at all. Right, we've arrived at this random pin.
It might try to pull over. Let's see if it does. Sometimes it does pull over.
Yeah, so it kind of so this is pretty cool. So the car just pulled over to the side of the road, and
the passenger should get off.
And parked. So it knows at the end of its destination, based on the video that's received, that at the end of the destination, you pull over to the side and park.
Yeah,
and
it also gets the exact pin location in addition to the navigation route. So, just the pin is close. Is a good spot here. It puts over here, but in big parking lots where there might not be any map, it should just go as close to the pin as possible.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, even without any route or anything like that.
Yeah, and in fact, in sort of Robotaxi world, it would actually just, probably perhaps know what you look like and just literally look for you.
Well, we're on the topic of Robotaxis, which is the whole fucking point of this video if you guys haven't figured it out yet. Following this demo of FSD version 12, I'm doubling down on my prediction that the first Tesla Robotaxi happens next year. My prediction remains unchanged now for a number of years. My confidence level, however, has continually increased. My best guess now with probably over an 80% chance of the first Tesla Robotaxi is legally allowed to operate somewhere, most likely in California, without human supervision, 2024. As in next year. As in, do you understand?
Yeah. If you have a picture or something, you can just
look for it. Exactly. It's like if you sign up and it's like, just say, you don't have to, but if you want the car to literally find you, you just have to send it a picture of you, and it will look for you and wait for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then you can also say, drop me off at the Starbucks or something.
Yeah.
It should drop you off at the building's entrance as close to Starbucks as possible, as opposed to somewhere random,
Yeah, exactly. Set speed, it's driving at what would be intuitively the right speed for people to drive at.
Yeah, you did a lane change to get into the faster lane.
Exactly. So there's two lanes here. There's a lot more cars in that lane, fewer cars in this lane, and it's going straight, so it picked the lane with the fewest cars. Yep, exactly. There's no explicit distance that's programmed in for how close you should be behind a car. It's, again, just video training. Exactly. It's going to turn and merge simultaneously, which is tricky. Yeah, cool. Nice. Real smooth merge. Now, one of the interesting things about pure AI driving is that it actually doesn't need a map at all. So we could delete the navigation system, simply give it a GPS point and say, get to this GPS point somehow. We're not going to tell you how. You could say, like, you see that building in the distance? Go there. And it would do that even with it might make some, get to go down a road that's a dead end and then have to reverse out, but it would basically be able to do what a human can do, where if you said, please go to, point at something and go there. So that's going into the parking lot. There is no explicit map of the parking lot, so now it is just trying to get to a GPS point.
they're putting new superchargers here for the cars.
Okay.
We're here.
Yeah, that's how it got to the point, and that's it. Alright, so that was the FSD 12 beta drive. Super smooth. One intervention, which we'll fix with a bit more training data. Otherwise, really, I would say, like, you know, if this was a Uber driver, pretty much apart from that one intervention, 5 stars.
Yep.
So, alright, thanks everyone for tuning in.
So in conclusion, if you're a Tesla stock investor or considering becoming a Tesla stock investor, you can absolutely safely ignore everything you've seen in today's video because it's not clear that Tesla has an unassailable lead. And even if they did have an unassailable lead, it's not like Autonomy is a $10 opportunity and a winner takes most market anyway. Plus, it would be really easy for other companies to catch up anyway. You know, just click your fingers, have millions of vehicles on roads covered in sensors, and bam, now you're catching up to Tesla. And also, the Autonomy leaderboards still suggest that Tesla's dead fucking last, and companies like Cruise and Waymo are in first and second place, so you should rely upon them, not what you've seen in today's video anyway. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's all I had to say. Now, could somebody remind me again, what was the definition of regret? Athletic Greens AG1 has given me a massive, meaningful boost in energy, allowing me to do a lot more every day, including using my brain more and using my body more. I highly recommend you guys and girls check it out. Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps. It's got 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics and probiotics and digestive enzymes and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. Plus, if you click the link in the pinned comment or head to drinkag1.com/SMR, you can get yourself a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. But don't take my word for it. Here's what some of you guys and girls have to say. AG1 has changed my life. I was, as you described, treating myself like a circus, ate like trash, rarely exercised, used alcohol as a stress crutch, cannabis also. AG1 is what gave me the kick in the ass, got me back to the gym, motivated me to do more for myself, family, my business, etc. Keep doing what you do. Now, I know there's some skeptics, the same kind of people who think Elon Musk is a fraud, reading this going, what do you thought? There's no way that's possible, bro. It must be a placebo effect. Believe it or not, this is a recurring theme. If you give your body everything it needs to feel and perform its best, including having a lot more energy, you'll need ways to use that energy. For me personally, that includes more exercise, moving my body more social activity, and more cognitively demanding tasks, including producing a ton of exclusive content over on Twitter and on Patreon, plus my daily YouTube uploads. The proof's in the pudding. On to another testimonial from a viewer of this channel. SMR, you asked me to provide feedback on AG1. Here it is. It has helped with mental acuity, stamina, and intestinal waste management. Can't read between the lines. It certainly helps with regularity and digestion. That's what the digestive enzymes are for. It has also dramatically reduced my cravings for sugar. You guys need to stop eating sugar. It's fucking poison. I'm 50, 5'9", and overweight, aka a fat motherfucker. I think that's a technical term for overweight, isn't it? Is it fat motherfucker or obese? I can't remember. I average 100 hours a week in the West Texas oil fields as a safety supervisor. Jesus Christ, dude. No wonder you're struggling to keep your weight under control. 100 hours a week. Brutal. It has helped me lose weight. It is not an appetite suppressant. It can help fat people suppress cravings, and motivation to be healthier is critical for changing your diet. Love you, brother. Again, this is a great point and something people really don't seem to grasp. If you have more energy, everything becomes easier. It's like turning on easy mode for life. A few years ago, before I was taking AG1, my health was trash. I was struggling to get through the day, had afternoon fatigue. The last thing I wanted to do was either use my brain or move my body. Didn't have the energy. Now, my biggest struggle every day is figuring out ways to use that energy. I'm exercising way more, doing a lot more with my friends and family, and of course, my work output has increased substantially. And you can fact check me. Check out the average length of my videos I was posting to YouTube 3 years ago. Need I say more? And one final testimonial. Love this one. Okay, here's the deal for me with this AG1 shit. I'm 41 years old and not the type to eat, drink, smoke, or sleep healthy, so I was skeptical. That being said, here's what I experienced. Day 1, meh. Day 2, afternoon fatigue was about 45 minutes late. Day 3, 0 afternoon fatigue. Day 4, 0 afternoon fatigue plus extra energy. Day 5, again, 0 afternoon fatigue plus energy, wondering, what the fuck, really? See, this is the thing, right? The results for many people are just almost too good to be true. This is the same experience I had. My afternoon fatigue just vanished out of nowhere. I'm like, wait, what the fuck? Why am I not tired in the afternoons anymore? Surely, it's not that AG1, is it? Turns out it was. Day 6 and 7, same thing. Day 8, same thing. Plus, I had the want to get things done around the house that I normally would slack off and not get done. Again, the point, extra energy, you'll need to use it, you'll find ways to use it. Day 9, 10, and 11, and today is day 12. I fucking love it. So however you managed to get me to buy it, I'm so glad you did. Thank you so much, SMR. It really changed me so far. Guys, this shit really works. Just try it. By the way, this is the reason I continue to relentlessly promote AG1. A lot of people get real fucking mad in the comments. Oh my god, Snake Oil Salmon's sold out. Oh my god, he's a scammer. This is fraud. But constantly, I'm pretty sure everyone making these comments is also currently short Tesla stock. I'm not particularly concerned about people having a negative perception, those folks suffering from small brain syndrome, still living in my bum's basement syndrome, etc., writing mean comments, claiming AG1's a scam or it doesn't work. I mean, bro, when I get feedback like this is what keeps me going. And remember, there is a 90-day money-back guarantee. There's nothing to lose here. Just try this stuff for a month, and if you don't get these results, get your money back. See, it's a literal no-brainer. It's an IQ test at this point in time. Testimonial after testimonial after testimonial like this. Get your money back if it doesn't work. Just try it for a month, and if it doesn't work, get your money back. Today's the day. It's finally time. Be like this guy who was a massive skeptic, but finally, after 1,000 promotions in a row, caved in, tried AG1, and has results like this. Head to drinkag1.com/SMR or click the link in the pinned comment, and please, let me know how you're feeling in a few weeks' time. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to put my extra energy to good use. I'll be recording some more exclusive content for Patreon and my Twitter subscribers. So click the links in the pinned comment. See you over on Twitter and or Patreon, and don't forget to grab your AG1. Love ya.